Right, I have one. I've not needed to make one of these before, so this is a new bag to me, and in all honesty I'm not quite certain how much of this stuff you'd actually ever need. So I start a new job in a couple of weeks, and so I've been putting together a get home bag. So since I bought quite a few rucksacks a while ago, since I was going to try and see what like the prep community sort of if they'd bite on eBay to buying stuff. Sort of bought bags and everything. So anyway, roughly the journey that I'll be looking to do is about 28 miles. Most direct road routes, so it could potentially be 35 miles. So if you've got to go all round the countryside to get home. So what I was thinking is, what kit do I actually then need to get home? Generally I'm going to be driving it, so this is worst case scenario if I need to walk home for a really bad sort of situation. So I was thinking at first that sort of distance, if you're walking 4 miles an hour, then sort of say 10 hours tops, and you're going to be home. And realistically, in that sort of situation, am I then going to be wanting to stop and rest and cook when whatever's happened, I'm going to be wanting to get home and get home and feel safe, and then work out what the next part of the plan will be, rather than actually I do worry there's a bit too much imagination that goes into these things when it comes to stopping all the time, and you're going to make yourself dinner, you're going to sort of start chopping down half the woods and making fires and stuff to get home, which unless it's probably less than 50 miles, I don't think you'd realistically, in one sense, probably need, if it's more than 50 miles in, less than 50, yeah, so I don't think you'd realistically need to, because you can get away with next to nothing, and you can carry enough food and water for that time. But I think since I'm carried a weight and I've got the bag, I generally had most of the kit apart from a few things missing, so I just had to order a few bits and pieces. So I thought, right, well, I don't want to be one of those people having to rely on others and do this, that, the other. So here goes. So 40 litre rucksack, that was like £8 or so on eBay, brand new, does the job. It's not super duper going to stand out, and nothing's going to be on the outside of the bag because everything fits inside. So that's the aim I was going for. Just a summer rucksack. I know it's going to be winter, but I think overall the bits and pieces in my sleeping system, if I needed to, and considering I'll be wearing all my clothing anyway, I ain't going to piss around getting clothing off, getting into my pyjamas and brushing my teeth. It's literally just going to be shoes off and straight in with everything on, wearing. A few things that are missing here to point out is socks, the actual water at the moment, and one of the torches that I'm ordering, and also a power bank as well. And that's generally what's missing. Everything else would be generally on my person anyway, so clothing, warm winter hats, that sort of thing. So yeah, just bear that in mind. So just a little cheap first aid kit, getting only a few quid. Just sort of bolster up with just a few more little bandages and some sterile wipes, just in case you do sort of cut yourself something. There you go. Emergency foil sleeping bag, there you go, put that in there. So that's an extra layer of warmth. I guess since I'm on the sleeping stuff, I'll go over my sleeping system. So there you go, just a Adtrek bivvy bag. So quite light, and again it's got it hanging around. I know it'll be as moist as anything, but if it's just one night or a few hours, then that doesn't really matter. And obviously that it's just building up the layers. On top of that as well, just an emergency foil shelter to go over the top, so I can literally, even if it's literally just connected to the ground, I really don't care. It's, if I can't find any trees, I'm not fussed. Just literally, as long as you're then covered and sheltered, that's the aim there. Considering that is a giant reflector, I don't think that was the best idea. So since I've still got some hanging around anyway, just a 1.8 by 2.4 sort of camo tarp, so at least I can then disappear, because most of my route, once I'm out of a city, I can just trek across country, so I'm then really not too fussed about sort of being seen. Right, so move things aside. Right, just some hand gel, some anti-bac gel, just to keep clean in that sense. So just some sanitizer there. It's vanished. Oh, actually, we're good. Should just start from one side. Some face masks, just cheap. Quite a few of them actually. You know, you might, if you're at work, so you might just want to. Well, I'm going to be. They're not going to be at work anyway because they'd be in the car. So, but if needs be, at least I've got a few. So if it starts getting horrible, sweaty, dusty, crappy, there you go. Just get rid of one. Also, if really do need to, can try and filter some water through it. Oh, actually, one other thing that is missing, which I'm going to add in, is some paracord. And it's not for sleeping system or anything like that. When I was out walking yesterday, I had a bit of a crazy idea. But that is when it comes to water collection. So, as you can see here, I've got just a Lucozade bottle that's empty. But the thing is, I was looking down at a stream. I was thinking, if I need to get water out of that stream, how are you going to get it? I was thinking you could walk round and down the bank and get it, or if you got some paracord, tie it round the top, and then there you go. Sling the bottle in, and just hope it sort of starts filling up and sinking, and then you can pull it out, and then there you go. So there's one empty bottle. The types of bottle I've got generally will that one will fit this water straw. You can screw it onto the top. So there you go, you don't need to mess around with anything then, you can just literally drink it. And this bottle is quite squeezy, being Lucozade. I've got some other water bottles as well, which will be full and ready regardless anyway. As I said, absolutely no order at all. A couple of cases, so these will be on my person. And that is because if I lose everything, at least I can have something. And in fact, I might add a couple more little things into this in a minute. So, just get that open. I have just in there some 1 litre water purification tabs. Just instead of a multi-tool, I've just gone with a effectively like a Swiss Army knife, since it's about £5. And it's still got screwdrivers, knives, little folding saw, yeah, tweezers, toothpicks. Generally, all of the things you'd probably really necessity sort of need for, you know, a short journey. Got one of the candles I made a while ago, so just a little survival candle, just 5 wicks in there, so I can have some heat. Lighter, whee. Fire steel, so 2 forms. Just a little tiny folding knife. Get the name on that, the Promifi. I got this for about £3 or £4, but they seem to be about 8 or 9 now, so I'm really gutted, because I've got to say, this blade is so stupidly sharp on it. I'm really quite shocked at how sharp it is. It just goes through paper like nothing. Then going on to this one. So this is probably a bit more gimmicky in one sense, but again, it's in the side. It's got a little fire steel and something else. And I can't remember what it is now. It'll come back to me at some point. So at least you've got a temperature gauge, humidity gauge. It works quite well. But more importantly, you have got a signalling mirror, a spirit level. You do have a small magnifying glass, which will be pointless. But more important, a compass. So at least then, there you go. I can basic navigate if I need to, at least work how I'm going in the right direction. Like just a few carabiners, so I can potentially clip something onto the outside if needs be. Maybe a different water bottle, but obviously it's not here, and it's not going to be in anyway. For drinks, just some coffees, and this is just literally just black coffee. Because I love hotels. So there you go, just pinch a load of coffees out of a hotel. And there we go. Just something then, just for the journey, just for walking along, just to keep your mind off things, and just to keep your body doing something and thinking, and just slow added energy. So that's my idea there. Just some glow sticks, so if I do run out of batteries and everything. Also, since they do come with the strings in them as well, since a lot of my journey is dark, I could potentially, you know, to tie a couple of them to my bag so that I am more visible. I could use a high-vis vest, but in all honesty, just using a little light stick or something like that, if you need to in a hurry suddenly, you can cover it up so you can disappear again. Right, Vaseline, and I think this is really, really important. I can think of 3 uses. Chapped lips, when you're walking along, abrasion of your skin and stuff, so it's very handy for that. And obviously fire starting, so if really, really needs be, I could always take what is my toilet roll, which is these little hand towels, just drop in water, and I could stick some Vaseline on, and there you go, I've got an extra fire starter if needs be, although I'd rather use them for what their aim would be for using there. And on that subject as well anyway, just some wet wipes as well, because obviously using the alcohol gel is not going to wipe off the dirt off your hands as such, so yeah, at least you can get the dirt off with that. And obviously again, you can use it for number 2 if needs be. Right, my torches, so I've just gone for just a little energizer. It's meant to be 100 lumens, but I've got to say I think that's bright enough to like most things. Runs on 3 AAA's. I've ordered a 1200 lumen sort of Cree LED torch, which comes with a recharger as well, a USB recharger. So as I said, what's not in here is a USB power bank. So then that means I can actually then keep recharging my batteries from the power bank as I go as well. And then there you go, there's 2, 4, 6, 8 batteries there. I've got a fair few more if I really want to. I can just carry a load anyway, makes no difference. So there you go, I've got 2 extra cycles round on my torch. I've not actually looked at how many hours this works, but I'm assuming realistically, especially on the lower mode, it's going to last long enough for a few days quite happily. And in that time I should be home anyway. Very, very small tiny radio, just in case there's no communication, so at least I can then try and stay in contact. And that just runs on, that runs on 2 AAs, so I shall have to add, there you go, that was easy enough. I can add some AAs in as well, or I can just stick some standard AA batteries ready for that to go in. Right, just a small button compass, nothing special at all, cost pennies, but back up to the other compass. Right, also when it comes to the first aid, just the key core sort of areas, so indigestion tablets, diarrhea, hay fever and allergies. I think especially if, you know, if there's debris and dust and everything, having one of them regardless would be a really good idea. And then enough flu tablets, so yeah, just enough for a couple of days worth of them, so you can dose yourself up on route. Because I've got shed loads of them anyway, enough water to drink a battleship, not sink one but drink one. Extra matches, so that's another way of fire. Fire steel, and just a small solid fuel sort of folding stove. That's got fuel in it, but then also I bought a load extra. There's no way on earth you'd need all of them, but you think 2 tablets roughly per cooking, so 2, 4, 6, 4, 8 there, and probably another 8, so another say 4, so say 12. So say that's 12 cooks, so that's ample enough. I'll probably take one of these out actually and put it in with my camping stuff, since they're all individually sealed anyway. Just a few rock pegs just to hold down my sleeping system, especially like the tarp and stuff, so I can sort of effectively just put the tarp, you know, cover it all down so I'm effectively then invisible. Carrying on, a knife and a fork and spoon, and I'll show you why I haven't put a knife in a second. Right, good old hotels again, just a couple of little things of muesli, so effectively you could say it's like trail mix. So there you go, you've got something to nibble on routes if you need to, or you know, if you do actually somehow get to sleep, you can have some breakfast. Now I was thinking quick and easy foods to make, which are horrendously quick and easy, and are hot, and there you go, some couscous. So just a couple of them, cost pennies, and you know, last long enough, and I can bin them if really get, you know, if they go out of date. And all you need to do is just boil it in boil some water and just chuck the water in, chuck the couscous in the water, And there you go. And a fork, and done. Right. Some ocean ration biscuits. So there's a good 2,500 calories, I think, in well, just under, because there's 9 bars. So there's enough calories in there for literally a whole day's full-on energy. So in theory, then it means I can try and go faster. You know, just literally just doesn't matter then from burning energy. Just again, just the same as the strong mints, can just nibble that on the route. Although I'll have raincoats and stuff anyway, a poncho, and that will then go over the rucksack and everything. As you can see, also it's, you know, emergency ground sheet sort of thing, so you know it's got added benefits like that. Right, moving on to dust, debris, etc. Just a couple of pairs of nitrile gloves, light as anything, pretty robust. Obviously they're not fireproof or anything, but I think that's a very handy way of just being able to, especially, you know, if you are coming across things, you know, you might need to try and just help out here and there, and just, I don't know, so it could be useful. And it's still better to save your hands rather than cutting them up and needing to use your first aid kit up. Right, another thing stolen, just some mosquito wipes. I stole these from America actually, they were just in the hotel. So there we go, so 30 mosquito wipes. Is it 30? No, 30% DEET. So I have no idea what that equates to. 15 wipes. So there you go. I guess if being wipes rather than a spray as well, I guess if worst comes to worst, that's another thing I can wipe my backside on. I can imagine I'd probably be shouting and screaming after wiping, but it's better than walking in your own filth. Right, then just a couple of trash bags, because you know, everything in the bag then can, you know, if needs be, I can, you know, be even more incognito, that sort of thing. I don't know, stick it over your head, use it as something like that. If I do sort of stop and sleep the night, I can get out a trash bag, stick all of this in a trash bag, and then get into my sleeping system area, and that just keeps the dew off of it, so when you wake up in the morning it's not going to be horrendous. Right, I love these things, cheap as anything from China. Just steel cups. I think they must hold good half a litre plus. So just a couple of them, reason being coffee and couscous. So there you go, that is the majority. I've just got 2 more things remaining. First off, a thermos. I love these steel thermoses because literally you boil the water and chuck them in these, and even from boiling water, about a day and a half later you still got water that is warm enough that it's noticeably warm enough, and if you're that cold, anything's going to be better than nothing. So 1 litre, one of them, on top of obviously taking the extra bottles of water full. I probably wouldn't take this one full. The reason being is just that it weighs nothing anyway, and it's not going to be a space issue, but it's more just the bits, you know, needed for the top. And from what I've gathered as well, when it comes to back flushing the life straw, you could literally stick this on over the life straw and squeeze the water back through once it's filtered. So extra purposes there. Then last but not least, but I've not got out, and that's just a dry bag, compression sack, which again I can then just sort of throw all this stuff in. So if really needs be, you know, I could throw, because it's next to nothing here, in all honesty, it's not a lot, you know, I could throw it in there. And then to keep it all nice and clean and neat inside, as with everyone's sort of bug out bags, survival bags, etc., just an absolute load of just, these are just electrical bags, but there you go, no holes in them, so you know, I can chuck a fire kit in one, I can stick cooking stuff in another, so that it's all together and it's all in an extra layer where it's going to stay dry. So that's generally everything that's going to be my get home bag. I think I've pretty much covered anything. I guess reasons for some things, like not carrying a larger knife and just carrying a penknife with a little folding saw and stuff, is I've got no wanton desire to stop for ages and be hacking down trees. So the only real one thing that it is probably going to be good for is protection, and taking a 5-inch odd blade knife or something and wandering around with that and trying to explain to police, if you do come across them, that literally it's, oh look, I'm a nutty survivalist, I've got it for this reason. Yes, they might buy it and stuff, but who knows, you just want to blend in and get home. So I know the green bag's not 100% blendy, but realistically at the moment this is going to be for winter, so before long it's going to be dark morning and night anyway, on the way to and from work, so it make no difference because it ain't going to stand out too much. In fact, that's quite a nice dark colour, so it's not really going to stand out too much anyway, and being an army green, it should then blend in more with the countryside anyway. So yeah, I'd know I want to take a gigantic knife just to literally just be stopped and arrested. I just can't see the point in that. Things like folding saws, again, I don't want to be stopping. It's 30 odd miles. In theory, if you're an Olympic athlete, you could run that in, say, 3 hours. So it's one of these things. It's almost a pathetic distance to even need anything. But at the same time, exposure and this and that. I just know on my way to my interview, well, on the way back from my interview, there was an unfortunate rail accident where one died and one got seriously injured, and so I was having to wait for the bus to come, the coach they supplied to then get back home. So things like that then start making you think, well, actually, you're not. I wasn't prepared at all. I had nothing on me, just a suit. No comfortable walking shoes, although they're comfortable enough to walk in. No idea of what route I'd take or anything. So that's one other thing that's not here, and that is maps. So when it comes to maps on my phone, I've got a really good program. I've now forgotten the name of it, but I shall find it very, very quickly, because it is such an awesome app that it is really Backcountry Navigator. There you go, and that is absolutely awesome at finding your way around everywhere. And on top of that, I'll print out some maps and stuff like that, so that I've got a backup on a backup. But more importantly, just knowing which direction you're going, I think, is probably going to be more helpful, because at least if I know I'm heading the right direction, and I know roughly town names and things like that en route, so I should generally be fine. So yeah, add any comments as to if there's anything I've missed in this. I've watched quite a few of the videos online, and there's one thing I would like to do, and that is actually test it. There's no point in it sitting in a packet and I come to use it and I've ripped it and it's just all, I'm just frozen and stuff like that. But I will carry on with my wild camping on my other channel anyway, so I shall continue to literally prepare in that sense, and then this then slowly will become more and more second nature, and so is the kit anyway, like especially things just like a head torch, and that is being hands-free is really, really important. It is such a pain if you're trying to hold a torch, trying to cook, trying to hold this, trying to move things around. It's just a nightmare, so bear that sort of thing in mind. Oh, two things with these little pouches as well. I don't even need a belt for these. So that's got a little popping clip there, so I can literally just clip it onto where a belt would loop through anyway. And the same with this one. This one's actually got a nice big long web of Velcro on, so I can actually do that lengthwise. I guess another couple of things sort of that be on person is just some money, just something like that. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Right, couldn't help myself, just got to do a very brief follow-up on sort of what I was going over as well. So now it's sort of semi-packed, so everything sleeper-wise is literally in the compression sack. It doesn't need to be, but It's an extra level of just keeping things dry, and if it does get wet, then hopefully it shouldn't make everything else wet. Steel thermos with a steel cup top and bottom. Tucked in the bottom there is the hexi stove and fuel tabs, because that's something that's not instantly needed. Within this section at the moment is nothing, although in it will go these two here. So I've got literally the food section, so I've got, you know, all the couscous, etc. Teas, coffees, and some water purification tabs, so that can literally just drop in there. Then also, this is the miscellaneous survival bag, so the toilet wipey bits, the radio, the batteries, some extra gloves, extra fire making, so that can also drop into there. Then hopefully this will all go in the fronts. If not, I'll pick the two that are going to go in, but realistically this is everything that's going to go into the pockets on my jacket, because my jacket has, being a fairly decent raincoat, fairly large pockets, so realistically that there pretty much fits in one pocket, and the same there. So within the one here, some nitrile gloves, a face mask, the two little bags which will be clipped onto me anyway, so that makes that pocket next to nothing, and the survival biscuits, so that I've literally got food on me, some gloves and a face shield. So, and I've got bare necessities there on me. First aid, I think that should definitely be on me as well. If someone's going to mug me, I'll let them take the bag, I'll throw the bag at them and run. It's probably going to be the best idea, and I've still got everything bare necessity on me. The poncho, so that's, I think, bare essential, even though I've got a raincoat. To have that extra layer over the top keeping you dry and the wind off as well, I think is ideal. And then in here, the Vaseline, the trash bags, because at least then I can stick them over my head, etc., or, you know, I can sort of rip them up gently and at least put them over the top of me, and, you know, make a makeshift poncho shelter, although I don't, at that point I don't know where you'd be stopping. The lights for the pockets and light sticks, and obviously the water straw and the bottle, and then there you go, I've got a way of getting water on me regardless. So yeah, so I just thought I'd add that extra bit in as well, so that all just fits into here, and off I go.